The US-Iran ceasefire will be temporary and the war will start after some time. As for the negotiations, nothing will come out of it, but there's a strategic reason why the US will pretend to engage in negotiations. So, number one, the two sides have completely different objectives that have not been met from this war. So the war must go on. As for the US, it wants Iran to stop the nuclear program, to hand over the enriched uranium, limit the number of ballistic missiles and maybe even drones, and for Iran to stop supporting proxy armies like Hezbollah. Okay, so none of those have been accomplished. From Iran's point of view, it now has a devastated economy. Okay, it's completely devastated. Its military industrial complex is totally gone. Steel production capability, 70% gone. Petrochemical capability, 75-80% gone. Right? They've lost some bridges and railways. It's in a very bad situation. And billions of dollars of its assets have been seized by the UAE and other friends of America. So Iran's economy is about to go into a Great Depression. So that's why they want to control the Strait of Hormuz and get money from every ship. They want the sanctions lifted. They want war reparations, blah, 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 just delusional demands. None of those will happen. Okay. The Strait of Hormuz situation is like somebody hijacking a plane and demanding money, right? Once you give in, there's no end to it, right? Why would they charge only $1 million per ship? They can ask for 2 million. They can ask for 5 million, and they can demand free money from the U.S., right? They can say, "Give me $10 billion every month, or else I'm going to bring down the global economy," right? There's just no limit once you give in to somebody to blackmail. And plus, there are so many other choke points in the world. And then everybody can start behaving like a terrorist. So that's not going to happen. Now, so what's going to happen during this time of fake negotiations? The number one goal for Trump is to release all the tankers, the oil tankers that have been stuck in the Persian Gulf that belong to many other countries like Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, UAE, blah, blah, blah. And, Qatar, that's a big one. So all of those countries need to get rid of the ships and to bring down the oil price and the gas price at least for another month. So that's the first goal of Trump. The second goal is to give the American soldiers rest. They've been fighting nonstop for 40 days. They flew more than 13,000 sorties, jets, fighter jets over Iran, bombing. And both the US and Israel have bombed 125,000 buildings. Okay. So these are all military buildings, factories, missile storage, blah, blah, blah. So they need some time to replenish. Maybe the US has to ship more missiles and interceptors from the US to the Middle East. So the US needs some time for that. And then there's also a maintenance involved, right? You fly a fighter jet for 40 days straight, it probably needs like 10 days of maintenance and repair. So these are all the reasons why Trump is spending time on these fake negotiations. And also during this time, the US satellites will be scouring over Iran, searching for those few hidden sites from which the drones and missiles are still being launched, right? So although the number of missiles and drones fired by Iran has fallen by 95% from the first day of the war, it's still, a pain in the neck. So they need to figure out the last few secret places. So the US will be very busy trying to find it out over the next couple of weeks. So because of all these, uh, the ceasefire is temporary, and you can bet that the war is going to restart. Now, Trump has a drawback in that his hands are tied by the liberals and the Democrats who whine about, Trump bombing power plants or bridges or the oil refineries. So he has to fight a gentle fight, and that's why it's taking so long. I mean, if the U.S. fights the way that it fought World War II, think how the U.S. bombed Japan and Germany. It was merciless. So there's nothing like that happening in Iran. You look at Tehran, the main city, just looks pretty much the same as it did before the war, because all the bombings have been happening in the suburbs and in the mountains surrounding Tehran city. So these are all the reasons why the Iranians may not even attend the negotiation, right? The talks are supposed to start tomorrow in Pakistan, and so far the Iranian team hasn't even left. Because if I know why these negotiations are useless, well, the Iranians have figured it out as well. But they don't have a whole lot of leverage other than saying, I will keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. But if they don't show up at all, then Trump is going to go back to what he threatened, right? He said, hey, you crazy bastards, I'm going to end your civilization, blah, blah. So that threat will come back. So let's see what happens. The next 24 to 48 hours will be very crucial. Thanks. Bye.